pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing while the Reverend Crothers gives our invocation this evening.
Let us pray. Father, we come before you this evening and we ask for your grace and mercy and blessings upon this meeting and those that are gathered here. We would pray that you would protect us always from those natural disasters which can occur, some big, some small, but which can cause havoc. We'll always look for your protection there. We pray that you protect the citizens of this community from evil men who would do harm, and we pray that you would be with those who serve to protect. Lord, just always remind us that we serve and we serve one another, and that we need to be diligent in that. We pray these things now, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend.
Take a running start.
I ask the clerk to take the roll, please.
Councilman Templin.
Present.
Councilman Cisco.
Present.
Councilman DiGiulio.
Here.
Councilwoman Gabarecki.
Present.
Councilman Rourke.
Here.
Pro Tem McLeod.
Here.
Treasurer Armstrong.
Here.
And Mayor Mategas.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Ask for a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda of April 26, 2016.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cisco, supported by Mayor Pro Tem McLeod. Is there any changes, additions, deletions? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you. Approval of the minutes for April 12th. I think there was on our desk tonight some late April 12th change, so could I have a motion?
Motion.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Templin, supported by, I'm sorry,
Me.
Councilwoman Gabarecki. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that's carried. I'll just say, excuse me for turning my head, but I've got a bunch of stitches they put in the back of my neck last night, so I don't turn real fast or easy right now, so bear with me.
Okay.
Just before we get to the presentation from the Allen Park Civics, Citizen Civic Fund, I just make one announcement on behalf of Knights of Columbus. Have a Mother's Day breakfast running that morning on Sunday, May 8th, and so before or after church, just to go and have a breakfast and visit with friends. It will be at the Knights of Columbus facility. With that, I will ask the spokesman for the Civic Fund to come forward.
Oops. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
You turned off the mic. Right on top. You got it?
This?
Up higher. Right there. I think. There you go.
There we go. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and fellow citizens. I'm Kurt Mazag, President of the Board of Directors of the Allen Park Citizens Civic Fund, also known as APCCF. I'd like to thank you for giving us an opportunity to present a brief overview of the APCCF to you today, so you know about our history, who we are, and how we intend to make a difference. As we go through our presentation, please think of how we can work together for the betterment of Allen Park. The comment cards in front of you will give us an opportunity to contact you for feedback and suggestions regarding our organization and to answer any additional questions you may have. If anyone in the audience would like a comment card or a brochure, please raise your hand and someone will come around to give you one. We recognize that the future of Allen Park is determined by its leaders and dedicated citizens and volunteers who share a common goal: to see Allen Park thrive and prosper. We recognize the great work many Allen Park organizations and government entities do for the city, which they have served since its founding in 1927. In 2014, the Emergency Managers Advisory Committee and the city hosted a meeting seeking input from Allen Park residents, business representatives, city administrators, staff, and elected officials. The major focus, their vision for the future of Allen Park. Some of you participated. Participants were asked to share their thoughts and ideas on what would you like our city to look like in 1 to 5 years, and what would you keep, change, or create. The feedback and ideas for building a strong and healthy future for Allen Park were compiled and became the Allen Park Vision Plan, which was approved and adopted by the City Council in July of 2014. The plan, entitled Community-Based Strategic Plan, can be viewed on the City of Allen Park website under the Community tab. Our articles of incorporation state we are organized exclusively for charitable purposes under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, and we exist exclusively to improve and enhance the quality of life in the greater Allen Park area and provide support to community leaders, community members, and groups in their efforts to create and expand events, programs, educational activities, and other civic improvements. The APCCF is a group of dedicated citizen volunteers who seek a vibrant community life in Allen Park. We formed the Allen Park Citizen Civic Fund to position ourselves as a group which could assist the city, community leaders, organizations, and volunteers to fulfill the vision and needs identified by our citizens and contained in the vision plan. The result of the vision process identified a number of areas needing work in order to achieve our Allen Park vision for the future. One, citizens want to be engaged and have an opportunity to volunteer. We also have many community organizations and committees which support a wide range of activities. However, even though help is sometimes needed for these activities, citizens are often not aware of these opportunities, and event planners are sometimes not equipped to publicize their events or their needs. Two, private donors and large companies want to invest and support our community efforts, but have been prevented from making any sizable donations due to the lack of tax-deductible benefits, which require a 501c3 nonprofit, which a 501c3 nonprofit organization can provide. Three, Allen Park offers a diverse range of educational, fitness, and cultural activities and events which can be expanded. However, grants and other funding assistance typically require the applicant to be a 501c3 nonprofit organization. These obstacles to Allen Park's future success can be tackled through our joint efforts by focusing on widening communication. We are developing methods of communication, including a website and Facebook page, which will inform event planners, citizens, and volunteers of upcoming events, programs, and volunteer opportunities. As part of our website, we will establish a volunteer bank. Seeking additional resources, we will assist new and existing organizations in identifying funding opportunities through grants, marketing events, and recruiting and managing volunteers. Utilizing the community-based nonprofit 501c3 in Allen Park. Individual donors and companies can now take advantage of tax benefits when they choose to support and invest in Allen Park through the APCCF. Grant opportunities and other funding. Our nonprofit status opens the door for new and existing community groups to seek and secure funding opportunities through private, federal, state, and local grants. We're excited about the possibility of partnering with you and other Allen Park groups and envision a prospering and growing Allen Park where there is increased citizen involvement in the community, including our youth, increased investments in our city by donors and corporations, well-attended new and expanded events and activities. We are conducting meetings with existing organizations to better understand their needs and the needs of their customers, so we can identify how we can be of assistance. These groups range in focus from beautification to civic involvement to safety. Business and corporate support. We will begin approaching a wide variety of businesses and foundations to determine areas in which they are most interested in supporting Allen Park. Social media. We will use social media via our website and Facebook to spread the word about opportunities for involvement in Allen Park programs and activities. Please understand, though, that our website and Facebook pages aren't up right now. They should be available within the next few weeks. Our hope is that you will want to be involved in some way and that you will tell others about our organization, encourage others to support APCCF and get involved, become our partner, join one of our committees. Lastly, we want you to know that we are having a pizza, beer, and wine social on July 14th, which will serve as our official introduction to the city. State Representative Liberati and Mayor Matakis have kindly agreed to be there to help with our kickoff. When flyers are available, if you'd be willing to provide some publicity for us, please let us know. It'd be greatly appreciated. And just a reminder to turn in your comment card. We will contact you in the next week to answer any questions you may have and get your feedback and ideas on how we can work together and achieve our goals. Thank you again for your time and allowing us to present to you today.
Would you be willing to take a few questions from council at this moment, or would you rather have them come on the,
As long as I can answer them, I'll take any.
is there any questions by council?
What's the location of the event on the 14th?
The community center.
Oh,
We're getting the rink without the ice.
Should have it with the ice, see what happens.
Well, we're going to have ice on part of it. That's just to test anybody we think might be having too much.
Are there any other questions by council? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to have a public hearing on the budget tonight, but before we open it for the public hearing, I would ask their Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Cady, to come forward and give a short presentation on the budget.
I thought we'd do something other than a public hearing, and just a short slide. I'd go through all 400 pages of the budget for you. Actually, I just wanted to see if anybody's actually seen it. Just going to do a short presentation on some of the slides that we had from the council presentation.
Bob, you want to take the microphone with you over there?
Oh, sure I can. I don't know if it'll stretch.
I think it's,
Will it?
I think it's anchored there,
It's
isn't it?
anchored.
All right, I thought what we'd do is just do some of the slides from the budget presentation last week, if I can find them. Okay. What I thought we'd start with is the slide that actually shows where your tax dollars goes. I've taken the budget from this year and all the millages and combined them into a dollar bill to break them out and actually show you where, for every tax dollar you spend, where that money actually goes. And as you can see from the slide, 29.96 cents goes to the Allen Park schools for their debt and operating. 17.1 cents would go to the city for its operating. 15.81 cents goes to Wayne County. The police and fire millage generates 10.89 cents per dollar. Community college is 5.23. RESA 5.59. The judgment and voted debt levies that we have in the city are 5.09 cents. The road millage that was passed last November it costs the citizens 3.07 cents. Rubbish is 4.1 cents. Library is 1.37. Community center is less than a penny. And then your other small millages like the DIA, the zoo, Huron Park Metro Authority, they're less than a penny also, 0.83 cents. So that's really how your tax dollars gets. And I think it's important to note that everybody that comes in here and pays their taxes, not all that money stays at the city. If you add up all the millages that we get to keep either for debt or roads or operating or police and fire, it's about 43 cents on every dollar that actually stays in the city. The rest goes to some other jurisdiction and we pass that money along. The next slide is the actual revenue slide that shows you where all the money comes from. As you know, we have a $23.5 million budget here in the city. If you look at the right half of the screen, the blue and the dirty brown, that's what's actually generated by property tax. You got about $7 million that comes from our operating levy and about another $4.5 million that comes from the police and fire levy. The rest of the money, which is almost half the money we need to operate this city, comes from other places, either grants, block grant, community center revenue, cable franchise fees, transfers from other funds, state shared revenues about $2.5 million, ambulance fees, equipment rentals, other fees that we charge to other funds. All those things go in to make the total budget. The next slide we have is the expenditures, or in other words, where does all the money go? As you can see from the chart, the two biggest pies are police and fire over on the left side. If you were to levy just enough mills to fund police and fire, you would need 12.68 mills to fund police and fire. So the 6.75 we're levying right now is only about half of what's needed to fund police and fire. It certainly is a big help because our charter limit is 12.5 mills, and most cities have a 20 mill charter limit. So with the 6.75, we're pretty much on equal footing with other cities. That 12.5 mills has been rolled back, as you know, because of Headley and Proposal A to 10.5985, and we had the override in November to use that 1.9 mills for the roads, which just got started this week. If you were to levy enough mills to fund this whole budget, the $23.5 million, you'd need 32.7 mills. Again, the money that we bring in from other funds or from other departments is what helps offset everything. I think it's also important to note that in 2006, 2007, just 10 years ago, a mill in this city generated $1,037,000. Today, a mill is only worth $720,000, so that's almost 70% of what a mill was worth back then. If you look at the next thing I want to bring up, which is the L4029, the only thing that's changed on that we're proposing to levy this year is I've had to make a small adjustment to the debt levies. That would be the judgment levy, the community center debt, and the tunnel debt for sewers, because obviously last year, if you remember, a mill was worth $752,000, and this year a mill is only generating $720,000. I had to adjust those upwards slightly. Everything else is the same as last year in this proposed budget. The only other thing I wanted to talk about is Order 37. If you remember, when the 6.75 mills was passed, the emergency manager talked about reducing the millage that was levied, the 6.75 mills, once the city achieved a 15% fund balance and a 1.2 debt coverage ratio. The more we look at that, the more we think that she got it wrong. Robert W. Baird wrote Order 37 for the emergency manager. We just received a letter from them last month reversing their position and saying that Order 37 probably isn't in the best interest of the city, which now has a capital plan that needs to fund, and it's trying to restore services to the residents. If we were to stick by what Baird calculated would be a return, it would be $507 to the residents, or basically reducing the millage accordingly. We needed $172,067 of that amount to balance the budget. In other words, when we finished the budget, we were $172,000 short on the revenue side, and we had to use some of the fund balance to basically match the expenditure side and balance the budget at $23,500,000. That remainder, $438,000, would equate to about a 0.6 millage reduction for 16-17. That would equate to the residents to about, on average, about $32 reduction in their household value or household tax bill. A better way to do this, if you really want to save the residents money, is to amend Order 37 and basically ask the state to take anything that's in excess from Order 37, put it into a reserve fund, and retire the 2009 A and B untendered bonds when they're callable in 2019. As you can see, we've got about $9 million in untendered bonds. If you look at the interest that we would pay on those bonds between the year 2020 and 2039, that's another $8.6 million for a total of about $17.4 million the city has to spend if we don't tender those bonds. And remember, those bonds are out there, some of them at 7.75%. And if you wanted to look at annual savings, if we could retire those bonds in 2019 by basically calling them, it would save the residents of this community 1.2 mils, on average about $63.59. And the chart over on your right basically shows if your taxable value falls into those ranges, what your actual savings per year would be. This wouldn't be a one-time savings. This would be a savings every year that those bonds are retired. Other than that, I really have nothing else unless council has any questions on this.
Council have any questions? Councilman DiGiulio.
Going now, Baird is the ones that wrote this up, the 10 to 15%, right?
Yes.
And now they're saying that we shouldn't give the residents a
They're not necessarily saying we shouldn't give the residents. They're just saying that because we now have a 6-year capital plan and we have things we're trying to restore and put back into place, that it's not necessarily in the best interest of the city at this time to
So
reduce that millage.
The same people told us it was in the best interest are now saying it's not in the best interest. Is that correct?
Correct.
So where's our integrity as a city when we promised the residents of Allen Park a rollback provision? They voted those millages in because we promised them a rollback provision.
It's really nothing to do with integrity. It's about placing the dollars in the best place we can to save the residents the maximum amount of money that we can. And if you want to really give the residents of this community the biggest bang for their buck, you're going to do everything you can to retire those callable bonds in 2019.
Well, I might like to spend my property taxes on a new car, but I don't. I pay my property taxes. That's my obligation.
You know, and
This was
again,
an
that's
obligation.
the council's call, but I'm just here to tell you that a one-time $43 savings on your taxes isn't nowhere near the 160 to 120 that I estimated on that spreadsheet over 20 years.
I had one gentleman tell me, well, that's 10 pounds of hamburger anchovies. I told him about $44. That's 10 pounds of hamburger when you're living on a fixed income of 8 or 9 or 1,000 a month. Just
Again,
so
as your finance director, I'm here to tell you it's in your best interest to retire those bonds any way you can. Whether you do it now or, you know, you refinance at a lower rate in 2019, we need to get those bonds off the street.
we sure put them out there on the street. Now we want them back.
Yeah, we were lucky to get 62% of them back. Now we just got to get back the remainder of them.
Thank you, Mr. Cady.
Are there any other questions? Councilman Sisson.
So just for clarification, the A and B bonds came from where?
The 2009 A and B bonds were the bonds that were issued to buy the studio property and to repair the studio property or put improvements into it. That was the $26.5 million and a $3 million issue. The A issue was a taxable issue, the bigger issue, and then the B issue was a non-taxable issue.
And so in your judgment, do you think this trying to save money to retire those bonds when they come due, when we can actually call them in 2019. That would be maximum savings for all the residents.
That's the way to give the residents, in my opinion, the biggest bang for their buck. Reserve that money into a fund that can't be used for anything else other than debt retirement.
There are no other questions. Mr. Katie, if you'll remain close, and if you can return the mic, because we're going to come and open to a public hearing, and yes. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to open the public hearing on the city's fiscal year 2016-2017 budget. So if any citizens want to come forward and comment or question, please.
Dennis Hayes, Hayes, Manor Avenue, City of Allen Park. It seems to me that notwithstanding whatever Order 37 says, I think the ballot language talked about a 10% surplus for a recall. Now we've shoved it up by way of Order 37 to a 10 to 15, and we've determined that means 15. And so therefore that, $62 or $32 that the people get might have been more like $45 or $50, but now we've determined through some kind of capital plan, which I don't know that we've heard all the details on. I presume that includes building a new building and other such things. But so I would ask you to address that in a moment. And secondly, I wonder if in the future it might be advisable to speak in plain English, because to you, that's your English, okay, the accounting language and stuff like that, but I'm quite sure there's people at home who don't have the first idea what a mill is, what the sewer project is, or the levy is, or the judgment, this, that, or the other thing. And I think it might be instructive for our citizens to understand in particularity what some of those things are. The sewage thing that was Judge Fikens' thing many years ago, that's the thing. You remember when Judge Fikens did this, and we were paying so much a year in dollars, not just mills. Mills don't mean that much to me even, and I sat on the council. I still don't really think in terms of mills. I think in terms of dollars and cents. So I wonder if you could consider that for future. No criticism intended. It's just that that's your language, but in the law they talk about res ipsa loquitur. Okay, if I were to say that, I dare say most people other than the mayor and I in this room don't know what that means, but the thing speaks for itself in Latin. We need you to have that speak for itself, not a bunch of lingo that you're accustomed to using. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor? Point of order.
Mr. Cisco.
It was just stated that the ballot language said that there was a rollback. Do we have the ballot language here so we could read it to the people? Exactly what the ballot said for the, just in case there's any doubt about what it said.
City Administrator is going to read the ballot language. If you just bear with us, Mr. McGusson.
City of Allen Park Proposal 1, Charter Amendment for Police and Fire Services Millage. Shall Section 8.01 of the Charter of the City of Allen Park, Wayne County, Michigan, be amended so as to permit the levy by the city of an ad valorem tax in addition to the 12 1/2 mills authorized by the charter in an amount not to exceed 6 3/4 mills for 10 years from 2013 through 2022 for the sole purpose of paying for police and fire services. If approved, this amendment will replace the authority approved in 2011 to levy 3 1/2 mills for 5 years. It is estimated that if the full 6 3/4 mills were levied in 2013, it would raise approximately $4,900,000, and the question was a yes or a no.
So there's actually no rollback provision in that ballot language.
Correct.
Right. We'll go forward. Mr. McGusson.
Okay. Ray McGusson, Quant. When Ms. Parker talked to us in a number of town hall meetings, she brought that rollback up. She stated it as it was. When she was city administrator or emergency manager, she stated it a number of times. And when she stated it in that way. She goes, you vote for this, you see a rollback. We brought it up a number of times at those meetings. They're on tape. We talked about that rollback. That rollback was said to us a number of times. I'm not doubting what was just read to me, but the rollback provision was stated in the News Herald the same way. All I'm going to ask is this. It is the integrity of our city that's in place here. We are asked to do certain things for reasons. We, the citizens, were asked to go ahead and to pass that millage with that rollback provision stated a number of times. And we passed that millage. Now you're asking it to be amended. Okay? An order given by the emergency manager. I believe we should pay our debt down. But I should also, hopefully, that when we look at this, or it's up to your vote or what we're going to do with this, with that part, that we look at the integrity of and the trust given to us as voters. We got to move forward. I believe that, Mayor. We must move forward. But in the same instance, where's the trust? You're going to lose mine when it's pushed at us a number of times about the rollback, and now you're even talking about amending something. What are we going to amend? Be careful how we vote here. We either vote what is right or we vote what to keep the trust of the voters. And I understand it's going to cost us money, one way or the other, doing this. Maybe something like this could be brought up at the election again. Put on there so we can vote, so the citizens can vote on it. But you just can't go ahead and says, sorry what you're told, but that's not what we meant. Just be careful. Thank you very much.
Do any other citizens? I see none coming forward, so I'm going to close the public hearing. It's so closed, and we'll go to the city administrator and organizational business for the city.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to yield the first portion of my time to Bruce Hammond from CE Rains. Bruce is going to give us an update on the projects that the city's been involved with, and I think he's got just a couple that we've got going on right now, construction-wise. I don't think so.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's nice to be here again. I just got here a few notes for updating the projects that we have been working on here, have got started. Obviously, the first big project that has started is the 2016 road paving project. We had a pre-construction meeting last Friday, and the first road that we have on our list is Garfield, and the pavement removal started on Garfield on Monday and is continuing through today. We did different ways. We did send out, or we did deliver flyers to the residents in the first block from Allen Road to Quant to let them know that this is going to be happening and to help and cooperate with parking of cars. After that, the next block is going to be, they're going to go all the way down to the other end and do from Rosedale to Fox. So the idea behind that is to get both ends of the street done. So as you work your way into the middle, people have places to park where you've already paved the road. So we're trying to be sensitive to the all the residents there and make sure that they have do the best that we can for them to have a place to park, and to also try to do the best we can to lessen the inconvenience of a project like this. Then they will move on to Shenandoah and then to Niver, and we'll see how we progress after that. Anybody have any questions on that project? It's, like I said, we just got off to a start, and it looks pretty good, so we're looking forward to
Just
it.
I'll clarify that. That'll be Shenandoah from Ecorse to Pinecrest.
Yes.
Niver from Inglewood to Wick.
Yep.
And then the last street scheduled tentatively for this year was Cole.
Cole. Yep.
Which would be south of Van Born.
Yep. Okay, the next project is the Watson Street Pump Station. Just a brief, the project there is removing the existing pump station and replacing it with a new one. The pump station serves approximately 80 residents. The bids were open today. The bid that was read that is the lowest is $162,000, which is some good news because we have a budget of $400,000, so the project came in fairly low. We still have to vet the bid and make a recommendation to the mayor and council. We're hoping to do that on May 10th, so it can be presented to the RTAB on May 11th, with construction starting around June 1st. There also another project that is ongoing is the pavement repairs from utilities, from water main breaks and sewer repair. The first list that the contractor received, which is GB Cement, has been completed. Moving on to another street project is the street sectioning. The contract is tentatively recommended for Dominic Gaglione Construction. Its amount is about $370,000, and that's various repairs throughout the city. I believe it's on schedule to go before the RTAB on May 11th. At that time, there will be a pre-construction meeting scheduled, and then the project will begin. We also have the
Real quick, Bruce, just for council and
Sure.
the public, May 4th is the RTAB meeting.
Okay.
They're scheduled for May 4th.
Everybody kept telling me May 11th today, so it's May 4th.
May 4th.
May 4th, okay. Okay, so that's going to change our schedule a little bit. Anyways, sorry about that. We have also we've been working with the DPW director, Terry Kerr, with the Allen Road pavement striping. That'll be between Southfield and Ecorse in the downtown area. It's going to consist of center line striping, crosswalks, parking areas, directional arrows. Those bids are due tomorrow, and a recommendation will be coming forth to the city council. One other project we have is the fire station air conditioning. The bids will be open tomorrow, and again, a recommendation will be made to the city council, and that should start in June and finish in July. And the last project we have is not so much a public project, but it's been a project that we've been working on. Development project is the hotels at Enterprise Drive in Southfield. We've been making contact with them throughout the last few months, not hearing much in return, but we did get a email today saying that we should be receiving plans for the first hotel at the end of this week for our company to review and make a recommendation to the city. So that was pretty good to hear that, because we hadn't heard too much about it until this week. So other than that, that's all the projects, or most of the projects we have going on right now. So if there's any questions on those, I'd be happy to answer.
Question by Councilman Fiscal.
I don't really have a question, but a comment. I went down, I was on Garfield today, where they were starting, and very not messy, but obviously when you're ripping up an entire street one side at a time. And I think the residents should know that while I was there, there was a tandem truck that was receiving all the refuse from the street, was blocking this family's driveway.
Yep.
And that company moved that truck immediately as soon as they needed to.
Sure.
So I was very impressed with the ease and how everything moved on that street at that point.
Good.
So it looks like we might have hired the right
Yes.
company at this point.
Yes, GV Cement's been around for a while. My experience is that they worked well with the residents, with their, being able to get out of the driveway and things like that. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, and so if the residents have a problem on that street, should they talk to somebody in that construction zone there, or?
Yes, they can do that. There's an inspector out there from Brucelli Group out there. His name is Mark Deal. They can talk to him. The flyer also has both the phone number for the contractor and our phone number too. They can call either one of us, and we'll make sure that if they have an access problem, need to get out for a doctor's appointment or whatever, special circumstances, we can make sure that they can get out on time.
And I also like the fact that we've started pretty much on time.
Pretty much on time, yeah. We got a nice start here in the end of April, and we'll be working the whole summer.
Very good work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know, I'll have one. On the roads that you've started or going to be starting, do we find anything underneath, like sewer repairs that needed to be
Yes. What we decided in the contract is we're going to replace all the storm sewers. So everything is going to be pretty much brand new underneath the road. On these projects, the water mains are outside of the influence of the road. They're in between the back of the curb and the sidewalk, and most sanitaries are either running on the side streets or behind the houses. So, so everything will be new.
We did have a bit of an issue over there, or potentially an issue, on the corner of Garfield and Quant. When they took up the asphalt pavement, there's concrete underlay there, and they did bust that out. There was a major void. So we were probably one heavy truck from having a sinkhole right there. There is nothing underneath there. Those storm sewers are gone in that corner.
Yep. So
And the thing to be aware of for the public is, if it's happening there, we've got major issues here. So we know that that's got to be addressed. And thankfully, the voters did put the millage together for us so we can address these issues.
Question, Mayor.
Councilman DiGiulio.
Are we going to replace all those trees that were taken out?
that's a question, I guess, not so much for me, but for the city.
Yeah, Terry and through Matt Dorian, they're working on gathering prices to go back and do some tree replacement on Garfield and the other affected areas as well. We'll be working with the residents, make sure that they do want a tree back. The last thing you want to do is, I found in my experience, is put a tree in front of a resident that doesn't want the tree in the first place, because they won't maintain it properly. So we'll be working with them to make sure that they do get back to the right locations. We had a few people that were, that obviously were upset about the trees being taken down, and we had others that were happy that they were taken down as well. So it's kind of a, goes both ways.
Other questions by council? I have a question on
Sure.
the, who is that? The Holiday Inn Express. I had thought they had submitted plans. We sent them to the Chicago group that normally
Right.
does the large project inspection. Then
Right.
then we inspected them, and I thought we were clear to
Yeah,
go. Are
we-
these a different type of drawing that I'm not
No,
understanding?
the company in Chicago inspected, if I remember right, they did the buildings. You know, we're looking at the civil end of it, the sewer, the water, the storm sewer outlet.
Oh, that's the
That's
last set of drawings that are before us
Right.
now?
Yeah, we reviewed those, gave them comments, said, you know, certain things need to be changed. And one of the comments was, or one of the difficulties that kind of everybody runs to is the storm sewer outlet, where to drain the water from the site. So one of the reasons why it's taken to this point is that they had to deal with Wayne County on a way to get the stormwater off their site. So they were kind of holding them up. But now that they have that resolved, we'll be getting the plans, we'll do our final review, and they should be on their way.
Would you say that they could start within the next 45 days?
all depends on what our reviews, if they follow most of our comments, I mean, obviously we'll be approving it, but, since we're kinda new here, I'm not sure what all the steps are in the city after we give our approval. I don't know if there's anybody else that has to, the plans have to go through. They've been through planning, if I remember it, they've been through planning commission,
Yes.
and so once our review, and if they've addressed all the issues that the company in Chicago did, then I can't see too many more obstacles in the way from them starting. So they could start this summer, because I know they have a deadline. One hotel has to be
For completion.
completed
Yes,
into this year. Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome.
For the, one more construction project that actually Bucelli is handling for us through an inspection process is the Community Development Block Grant Program. They have saw cut the roads down in the south end. Predominantly, I think a lot of the work is going to be on Michigan. LeBlanc is the other one, but Michigan's going to take a good run of it. Very bad concrete just east of Ford Line. So that area has been saw cut. They should be tearing that concrete out and be ready for replacement here shortly. We're going to have the contractor through the block grant work in that area primarily, and then once he's done with that, then we'll work on Roger Street if funding allows. But that is a Bucelli Group project that Bruce is not working on. For the rest of my report, Comcast completed the work necessary to switch everything over from the old City Hall. With the project now complete, the power was turned off at the old building on Friday. We are still working with WOW to get their portion of the project completed so we can have the city information broadcasted once again on the WOW TV channel. You'll see later on the agenda, the fire department was awarded a grant for $65,000 from the Assistance to Firefighters grant for a new exhaust removal system at the fire station. The street sweeping has been done throughout the city at least one time. Another street sweeping will take place in about 5 to 6 weeks. And DPS, the water department, will be doing a hydrant flushing starting on the north part of the city, working its way south. The library will be working with gleaners doing a food for fines program. So if you have any outstanding fines on books, I guess they're going to be, from what Sandy Blakeney was telling us, they're going to be accepting food donations in exchange for instead of the cash fines. Our consultant for the master plan update, Mannix Smith, is continuing to work with various department heads on the plan and will soon be presenting some information to the Planning Commission. Speaking of the Planning Commission, there will be an on-site training May 19th. I believe the time is going to be 6:30 for the Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, and City Council. It's not mandatory for mayor or council to attend, but you may find it interesting as Planning Commission is kind of goes through their training as to the process and then how it affects the Zoning Board of Appeals, and then ultimately how it ends its way back here at the mayor and council. The Municipal Complex Committee will be meeting on Thursday, May 5th, with 2 architecture firms for a schematic presentation on a proposed Police Department City Hall complex. The committee will then recommend one of those architects at the May 10th City Council meeting. We have, as Bruce mentioned, we have a number of items being open for bids here in the next few days. They'll be presented at the May 10th Council meeting. And with that, I will be on vacation the week of May 9th, and I will miss the May 10th Council meeting. So I believe Mr. Katie will be sitting in at that point in time, so I know he will be happy about that.
Can I have a motion to accept and file updates, reports, and document submissions, please?
Motion.
Support.
Councilman Gavricki is moved, supported by Councilman Rourke. Is there any discussion or comments?
Just one question, when they do the fire hydrant flush, do they notify the residents in that neighborhood in case there's any, does it do anything to discolor water in it?
Previous experience, yeah, there is a possibility that it will discolor the water. It is still safe, but it just has a color. Let the water run for a few minutes and it'll clear itself.
Okay. But will there be any communication out to those neighborhoods?
You know, I haven't been here for one of Terry's flush on that. I'll follow up with that. I'll get a Facebook posting. We'll get it up on the webpage, and we'll definitely make sure it's up on the cable channel as well.
Just to comment on that, because I checked on it the last time we had some complaints, and it appears that fire hydrant you may have on your block is not actually serviced by the water line on your block. So if you're notifying them, all of a sudden the discoloration shows up 2 or 3 blocks over. Very strange situation. We had been notifying them, but I can only say that, run the lowest water line you got in your house for a half hour and it should clear it. But it isn't necessarily, if we notify the people where you would think would be affected, that they're necessarily affected. And we found that. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. So.
If I can indulge council for one more moment, the trash cans, the trash carts started to be delivered yesterday to various areas of the city, trying to stick with the route pickup. So if you're a Monday pickup, their goal was to get to the Monday stops first and then work their way to Tuesday and so forth. Attached to the carts are the 64-gallon recycling carts, and also to the 96-gallon trash carts was a card. One correction on here that we need to make sure everybody's aware of: for recycling, the card says only numbers 1 and 2. That is not correct. It is items 1 through 7, and that is the information that is pasted on the lid of the cart, 1 through 7 for the plastics.
Yes, Mayor, go on.
I have a Monday pickup. As of 5 o'clock today, Moore Street did not receive any receptacles.
All right, I'm looking back at Chris Preston and from Advanced Disposal, and I think maybe, can you give us an update on that?
Republic was very happy to take all of our old garbage cans, though, so I have no garbage cans at the moment.
Yeah, we will have those, we've been delivering all day yesterday, all day today.
Chris, can you come to the podium?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I just want to say that my garbage pickup was today, and our whole street got all their prescribed containers.
I can get mine.
So, yeah, it was great, actually.
And
Mine was
our
yesterday,
crews,
I didn't
all
get
the
one.
crews are still out, and they'll be out, they're working basically up until dark every night, trying to get all the cans out, so what we also did yesterday was we also picked up some of the Tuesday people as well, because we were delivering on a straight line down the road, and the Tuesday was right across the street. We kind of just kept going where it made sense to do that. So if you have a Monday pickup and your can wasn't there today, then between probably tonight or tomorrow, we'll have all those cans out to you. So we'll be caught up by then.
Thank you.
And Advanced Disposal is delivering approximately 11,200 trash carts and recycle carts. So
Times
you're
two.
talking 22,400 carts have to be delivered throughout the city, and it's going to take a bit of time to do that, though.
Yeah, and so with the company that we've hired to do that, we're in contact with them continuously throughout the day, and then we double back and check with them at night as well, just to make sure where their progress takes them. So if there is a one-off where something needs to be addressed, certainly let us know, and we'd be more than happy to communicate to them. And Richard, who is with me again tonight, our operations manager, is also out on the street all day as well. So if there's anything like that you need us to follow up on, just please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to do that. Okay.
More west of Allen.
Mayor,
Councilman DeGiulio?
are we gonna go back to what we were talking about? We were talking about the new building there, and what I'm wondering is,
We have a motion on the floor to accept file updates, reports, documents, and submissions from.
so we're gonna discuss it afterwards or before? I mean, we went off that subject and we got onto trash barrels, I think.
Well, he gave a report on trash barrels. That's why, as part of his report.
Well, somebody was talking about the new building, that the committee is gonna meet and they're gonna recommend
They
somebody.
have a meeting on May 5th, and they'll recommend the architectural firm to this council.
Well, are we
on the
gonna
10th.
discuss that at all, or is that just,
That's his report. That's all it is.
who's his?
City administrators.
Well, I'm just curious who the committee is.
It's the municipal complex committee. It consists of 3 persons.
What's their qualifications? How are they chosen? I mean, these builders, do we have 3 builders that are on this committee to build a building?
No, they're 3 council people, and everybody was asked to send me a list of volunteers for the various committees that were available, and they were filled with council positions.
So we don't have anybody that's qualified as a builder on the,
But they have people there advising them, and you will have every
they
opportunity.
have people, who are the people? Who are the advisors?
What, could the 3 council people please just, I'm sorry, I don't remember
I'm
the
sorry.
3.
I'm one of the council committee members.
Okay.
As well as I am.
And Mr. Templin. So those are the 3, and they do have the engineers and other people working with them. So on the 10th, it'll be an item on the agenda, and we'll have every opportunity to discuss it more fully.
And, Mayor, if I might for just a second.
Councilman Cisco.
Everybody's welcome to attend. These meetings are public meetings. Council people can attend. In fact, Mayor Pro Tem McLeod was there, watching the proceedings and watching the questioning by all the people in attendance. There was quite a few people there. So, open to the public.
Okay. I'm going to call the question. All in favor of the motion signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you. The consent agenda consists of 4. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over our public comments. So before that, I'd like to just briefly go through the rules of decorum for public meetings. Individual may only speak on an issue after the individual has been recognized. Comments from the floor shall be made at the podium at the front of the council table or at such other areas as designated by the chairperson. Prior to an individual speaking from the floor, the individual shall identify themselves and state their address, the city, for the record. All comments shall be directed only to the chairperson. Speakers are not to address other members of the council or members of the audience. Each member of the public may speak for up to 4 minutes. All written statements should be given to the city clerk prior to the meeting so that copies may be made available to the members of the public body. No individual shall be allowed to make any defamatory attack or invasion of another individual's personal life. There shall be no questions, comments, discussions, or attacks regarding anybody's personal life. The chairperson shall immediately rule out of order any person who begins to bring up such issues. If the chairperson does not do so, any member of the council may call for a point of order and request that the offending party be ruled out of order. If the chairperson does not so rule, the council member may call for an appeal of the decision of the chairperson. If the chairperson's decision is overturned, the offending person is deemed out of order. If the person is not deemed out of order, he may allow the comment, but the person who is being challenged or whom the comments are made against shall be entitled to make an immediate rebuttal statement. For purpose of these rules as they relate to elected officials or city officials, the term personal life shall refer to anything other than that which is said or done in the person's official capacity as an elected official or in the person's official city capacity. Members of the public body may question the speakers, but the members of the public body are not obligated to answer any questions or make any statement on an issue raised or discussed by the speaker. Issues may be referred to an appropriate body department or individual for investigation or review. No person or group shall be allowed to disrupt the meeting or proceedings. Any individual fails to comply with these rules after having first been warned by the chairperson to cease such actions shall be ordered by the chairperson to leave and/or be ejected. So, with that, citizens come forward with their comments or questions, please.
Walt Jordanek, Bel Air Avenue, citizen of Allen Park. I have a question for anybody on the council. Earlier you talked about the fire hydrant flushing. I had a question from my neighbor who lives on Goddard, which happens to be my sister, and wanted to know who is responsible for flushing the fire hydrants. Supposedly, the city came out 3 years ago, put a yellow tag on it, and nothing's been done.
Well, the city flushes hydrants. So
Okay.
if there's one there,
That's the responsibility of the city?
yes.
Okay. Because I told her, since Goddard is a county road, it might be their responsibility, but I guess not.
No, I think those are city hydrants on our side, I mean, our side of the road. If the hydrant's on the other side of the road, it's going to be Southgate.
Right,
Or the
exactly.
county, if it's in front of the county property.
Okay. Thank you. The garbage bins, the containers. Now, Mr. Kibbe showed a pamphlet. When do we get the pamphlets?
The pamphlets are attached to the carts themselves. And
Oh,
then
we don't get them ahead of time.
I'll give you some if you want. One, you're more than happy to take one tonight.
Well,
But
you need to give me more recycle calendars too, because none of my neighbors have them.
those
But
should-
they were mailed
they
to
should have been mailed
every
out.
resident in the city. I was here when you guys said that.
And then advanced disposal is also putting a mailer that you'll receive in the mail as well with basically the same information.
You sure?
coming there. Yep, I'm pretty sure they mailed them already.
Somebody should bring one to Bel Air Avenue, because we don't get anything other than water bills and tax bills. We don't get anything.
We send those out as a sample to make sure you are getting your mail, but we'll find out on the other aspect why you're not getting that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. By no means am I in favor of the containers. I think the recycle thing is great, but not the other big thing for my one bag a week. If I'm really garbagey, I have two, but if I don't get a container, what do I do with my garbage?
For the first, I think for the first week, if you don't have your can,
Okay.
proceed to put your garbage out as normal. And I think Advance will be coming around with a regular, a manual load truck for the first week or so. So put it out as normal, if you don't have the can, if it has not been delivered to the house yet.
Okay, so if I have an old couch and a chair, what do I do with it?
Yeah, that's gonna be a special pickup, and just be, there'll be a number there to call Advance to let them know that there is a need for a special pickup, and they'll send the truck around to pick that up. And if you don't make the phone call, I believe Advance will still have the truck going around in that typical pickup day area to check for anything that wasn't called in.
Is there any extra charge for that?
No charge for special pickups. There is a charge for appliances that contain Freon. Appliances that contain Freon, there'll be a $55 charge for that. The sticker will need to be purchased. I'd recommend that you do not put the sticker on the piece of equipment or on the appliance until it is picked up by Advance, just in case one of the I don't want to call him a machining man, but a scrapper comes through, because we'll be able to do a refund if you're able to, bring us back the sticker.
I get my 55
Get your
bucks back?
55 back. That is the fee that is to remove the Freon, and that has to be removed. That is by state law. But you'll need to have the sticker back to get the refund. So I would highly recommend, if you do need to go that route, hold the sticker until they come ready to pick it up, put it on at the last minute, so they know it has been paid for.
And what do we do with our old recycle bins?
You can use either recycle them or you can use them. They're great storage bins. I may be looking
Oh, I
to
agree.
come over to your house on Bel Air when I bring the brochure to grab yours as a storage bin for my house.
Well, it's only 18 gallons, that one, so it'll fit easily in that 96-gallon container.
No, it
Put it
isn't
in the
going in
64
there.
so we can recycle.
It's gonna be my storage container.
Oh, okay.
And you can come over and fill it up with beer, what our deal.
Can I see you after? I want to get the address for that. Goddard, I don't want you to broadcast it out, but I want to get the address for that so we can take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I just want to make a comment about the recycle bin question of what to do with the old one. I happened to be on Facebook today, and I believe it was on the Allen Parker. There was a posting, I think it was from one of the instructors at the high school, who said that they would be more than happy to take as many, she didn't specify how many, but they are interested in those older recycle bins because they do want to put them throughout the school. So if I can find something on that, we can get it posted. Perhaps they'll get more than they could possibly want, but that's what I intend to do. So if you're not going to hang on to yours, it's got a good use.
Robert Turner, Morris Avenue. I'd like to talk about the budget and a rollback. I went through the budget in detail. Bob and Mark, like, have done a good job. Let's talk about the rollback. The council voted in 2013 for a rollback. And now we're saying we don't want to do a rollback. So is the council going to vote on this to change that? Are you going to vote either way to do it or not to do it? Okay, no answer. Okay, we have another choice. Either go with Bob's proposal versus a rollback. That's what I'm hearing now. I would say if we go with Bob's proposal, this money would go in a segregated fund. It couldn't be used for anything else, right? Okay. I'm not doing very good tonight. On the budget, I noticed on the debt schedule, the Ford land liability is not in the debt schedule. The money they owe Brownfield owes Ford land, like $8 million they owe Ford land. Right. It's not in the debt schedule, is it?
That's part of a Brownfield agreement. It's not a debt. It's not really a debt. It's an agreement on the debt.
Okay. It's the debt. I mean, the debt loan range.
The city issued are there in the debt schedule, but that agreement is separate.
But let's say if the Brownfield went belly up, will the general fund be responsible for that debt?
Yes, every debt the city has is basically backed by the full faith and credit of the city of Allen Park.
Okay. Next question on the new city hall. I know we have meetings, and that's good. Okay, I would assume on March the 10th, or May the 10th, that we'll have some idea what the cost is going to be. Pardon me?
May 5th. Is that May 5th?
Well,
that's when we're going to talk to the architects.
Okay, yes, I said, I would assume. Is there going to be, on a date, will it be what is going to be the cost? Okay,
Well, I don't.
Well, I don't know, just through the chair, maybe Mark can help with this, but isn't that just about choosing an architect?
Yeah, it's just looking to talk to the architect.
Okay, but somewhere you're going to come up with a cost. You got Order 37, you can't spend money. So where's the money going to come from? You got bond C, junk bond, CCC. So where's the money going to come from? Tell me. I assume we made this, sometime you guys got to come up. How are we going to build this? Are you going to go out for a millage?
There will be no millage on this issue.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I know you suggested it at a meeting once, and I said there'll be absolutely no millage.
Okay,
You suggested the millage.
Okay. May the 7th, let's decide where's the money going to come from. I'm through. Thank you.
Through the chair, Mr. Turner, again, they're just picking the architects. So until they actually draw the building, I don't think we'll have an idea of cost. So don't come May 5th and just point of information. I didn't want you thinking you'll get an idea, but they actually have to draw the building and.
Okay, I have an idea of what the cost is going to be. I'll be pretty close. It's going to be $7 or $8 million probably. Okay, so how do we come up with? We got $3 million. So how do we come up with the other $5 million? Thank you.
My name's Ted Scrocky. I live on Reek. I've been up here for over a year and a half, 2 years. I had signs placed on Goddard and one on Reek that says, on Allen Road, it says no trucks on Reek. When are we going to enforce it? Another thing, cement trucks. Red Fawn's getting cement over there, and it's coming down Reek. Why is it coming down Reek? I could see if it was in my neighborhood for a cement truck. My neighbor just moved in, And he's talking to me, he said, why are all these semis going up and down Reek? I got car haulers with 10 cars on them going up and down. I got 53-foot trailers. There had not been one ticket written for trucks. I seen a police car go one way and the truck go the other way and nothing happens. Don't tell me he's on a run. That's all I hear. He's busy. We only got 3 cars. Got one sitting on Southfield and Oakwood. Not on Reek. All I'm asking, in the morning, hour and a half, and then in the evening around 4 o'clock or something for an hour and a half, which I mentioned before, and I haven't got nothing done from any of you people up there. You know, go look at my street and see all the holes in it now. Like I said, I just had a neighbor move in a couple months ago, and he's saying, what's with these trucks going up and down? The neighbor across the street complained to somebody in the city hall, at the police station or city hall, if I take pictures, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. He was willing to go out there and take pictures of that trucks. And then you ain't going to do nothing. You know, and I know there was no tickets written because I asked the city prosecutor and the judge. He says he hadn't seen any tickets go through about trucks. You got to be an ordinance, a weights and measures to pull a truck over on Reek when the sign says no trucks unless you're delivering. That's all I got to say. You know, and on top of it, it cost me an extra $300 a month, a year, to pay for the police department, which I'm not getting any service. You know, if I had to vote again, I'd vote against it.
Dennis Hayes, Manor Avenue. Few things. One, Mr. Chairman, you weren't present at the last meeting where we had a really revelatory experience. We had your substitute, the acting mayor, Mrs. McLeod, summarize in a few short words the rules of decorum. And recall, if you will, that the former authors of these, of which probably Kevin was included, Mr. Burke et al., all they did was say they're posted on the wall, familiarize yourself, and abide by them. But you, sir, for whatever reason, insist on chauntering through them every meeting to, to people I talk to say, why does he do that? You're empowered to eject people by Robert's Rules of Order. It spells it out very clearly. Just read them and follow those. Those actually limit your power. And they limit it in a way that causes us problems that I'm not going to revisit here tonight. Secondly, Mr. Scroggs here has been bringing this issue up, and I'm ashamed to say that I sat there on that council and heard him say it too. I've seen the attitude of the police towards his complaints. They laugh him off, they consider he's an old man, whatever they think, and I think that's shameful. I'd like to see somebody here direct the police to do just what he proposes periodically, not every single day, randomly employ some surveillance. You give a few tickets for overweight trucks, you're talking big money. Yeah, sure, I know there's money on the freeway too, but give the guy his due. He's raised this question at least 30 times I remember over the years, and nobody's ever even acknowledged the man. He's a citizen of long standing in this community and deserves to be recognized for his valid concern. And I know I live right behind him on Manor, and I know exactly what he's talking about. You look at Reek Road, it's a disaster. There's cupping in the road and everything else, and there's all kinds of trucks going down there. Thirdly, I had asked through the chair at the last meeting, I didn't get an answer, and I may not get an answer tonight, but I'm still interested to know, how do our jobs get posted or identified so that a citizen in this community, one of the other 28,000 besides Dr. Baker's son and Larry's wife, can get these positions here that others ought to have the opportunity to get? I don't know that it was, I called the building department, they said they weren't aware that the inspector job was ever posted. We know that he's son of a friend of yours, Mr. Mayor, and that's fine and good. But this does not inspire a lot of confidence that we've removed ourselves from that good old boy network. So I'd like an answer, and if you want to call me over the phone, Mr. Kibbe, and tell me the answer, I'd be happy to hear from you. And finally, the gentleman here who presented the 501c3, the last time he was here, I mentioned to him I was happy to hear about this. That's a real step forward. But I was trying to figure out how this project of his was spontaneously generated, never having heard a word about it. Whose imprimatur does he have? Was it the city that said assigned him to do it? Did he do it on his own? I never heard an answer. He doesn't have to answer me, I suppose. But I'd be curious, you know, do these things just happen out of nowhere? Or, you know, I don't know where that comes from. If you were involved in authorizing him, that's interesting. But I don't recall any discussion of it other than the first time he showed up to discuss it. I think it's a great idea. I wish him best, and I intend to give him some comments on the cards if I come up with any. And hopefully we'll go from there. And finally, I wanted to ask Mr. Cisco through the chair if he managed to get his fine paid with the county yet. I don't know if he's going to answer me, but I think that's something the citizens would like to know, that all of their elected officials are paying their fines or filing their reports or whatever the law requires them to do. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
I just want to comment on the Baker appointment. Dr. Baker, who's our public health officer, who's served as a public health officer for the city for over 30 years, has never been paid a dime for the services that he gives here. And whether he knew whether his son was being hired in the building department, I don't know. Certainly until I walked into the department one day and asked why he was there, and he said he was working there, that's the first time I heard about it. So don't want anybody to think that there was in any way something that Dr. Baker or myself did in this city to see to the employment of his son. Although I will say he was the general contractor for redoing this whole building, and I probably stood pretty well with the building department and the work that he did. So with that, I'm sorry to
No, you're fine. You're
hold
fine.
you up there.
Yep, Emily Shannon, Lawrence Avenue. I just have a problem. We've had this problem for probably started this winter. We had a renter move in several doors down from me, and the renter is growing marijuana. And during the winter, you could smell it. It smells like skunks. Well, it's really, really bad at this point in time. I had my door open as the weather got warmer, doors and windows open. It's now wafting into my home. So on April 18th, I called the police, 10:30 at night, done. I can't have this in my home. I have 2 children. We've got lots of kids on the block. The police came to the house at 10:30, and they said there's no grow ordinance for Allen Park. It's not illegal to grow marijuana in Allen Park, so there's nothing they can do. I can't have this on my neighborhood. We've been residents now. I've lived here my entire life. We've been on Lawrence for 15 years. There are children up and down, and now I have to put up with marijuana and the scent, the stench, and who knows what else is going to come of this because this renter is here 2 doors down from me. My neighbor and I contacted the owner of the home. He lives in Florida. So is someone managing the home? Probably, but we need something done. Other communities in the area have had, ordinances passed where you cannot grow this substance in your school or in your area, but we need some help. I don't want to live on this block if this is what's going to happen. We're teaching our children in the schools they belong to or go to Allen Park Public Schools that drugs are bad. We want to stay away from drugs. Well, now I've got it just two houses down. So can you help me? Can you do something for us as well as any of the other residents in Allen Park? The police that came to our home said lots of homes in Allen Park that are rented out. This is what's happening. I don't know for a fact because I haven't visited, nor have I visited this home 2 doors down from me, but just the aroma, the stench, all the time, the pungent scent that is coming 24 hours a day. It's not just a skunk. It's just it's too much to be a skunk. And it's all the time. Skunks are nocturnal. So I don't want my children, they're going around, my 13-year-old is saying the skunks, the skunks, the skunks. We know what it is, we're not stupid. So I'm asking for some help. Is there something you can do to stop this renter, to stop the other renters in Allen Park so then we can go back to the neighborhood that I moved into 15 years ago?
Do you have the address there?
I do, yes. Would you like it now?
Please.
It is 9884 Lawrence, Laurence.
Mr. Mayor? Mayor?
Thank you.
Can we find out if, number one, if it's even licensed as a rental home? But
That's-
why can't we make a resolution right here and have no grow? You know, you can't grow them in your house, can't grow them in a residential neighborhood. I know we got 2 of them over on Allen Road, business buildings that are growing it. But how about, I mean, a residential area?
I mean, I
Why don't
can't
we
even
make a
sit in my
resolution on that?
backyard, enjoy, dinner with my family because the odor is so bad. And this is 2 doors down, and so if it's affecting my block, it's affecting the block behind me. And it's not gonna get any better. I'm not gonna say anything to him because I don't wanna confront him because I don't want anything to happen here. But the police, their hands are tied. If it's not illegal to grow it, what's,
I wish you'd have gave his address in private, though, came over here. I was gonna ask you to do that, come up here and give it right here.
well,
Okay, I know.
you come to my block and you can totally smell where it's coming from.
okay,
I mean,
I
it's,
understood.
so is there something we can do tonight or short term?
Can we?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm waiting on, oh, okay. I was waiting on the city attorney to answer,
Yeah.
so, thank you.
Legal Affairs is working on an ordinance. We have been for a couple of months now. And there are issues to overcome because medical
I'm sure.
marijuana is legal
Legal,
in
right.
Michigan. But we are addressing exactly all those things that you talked about.
And how close are we to that ordinance? Like, do I have to go all summer with my windows and doors closed and not enjoy my yard because it's not passed, or is it short, is it?
Well, when the language is final, it then comes in for, Mr. Mizzi, how long does that take?
Once you have a first and second reading, the whole process takes about 1 month, exactly a month to do.
Can we do an emergency ordinance? I mean, you all know that we realize this is a problem,
No,
sorry.
Just through a chair. This is a huge problem. We have people, they think it's great to smoke dope, and, they think it's normal, it's, so you have this movement, in your mind, it's terrible.
Well, if we could keep it in the confines of our home.
Well, right, no, I realize that, but we have it's actually a quite large movement in society. People feel this is acceptable. Many of our legislators in Lansing cannot even agree that this is something that is, that should be regulated. Maybe it's because the voters, so many voted in favor of it. So us as a community, we are in a difficult situation where the law is not real clear on this. We've looked at some various ordinances, our Legal Affairs Committee, we've considered this, but as we dig deeper, it gets less and less clear. So.
Well, the problem, I'm sorry.
No, I wish, honestly, nothing would make me happier if I could say we could adopt an ordinance today and make this go away. It's just not that simple in dealing with this
It's not the smoking of it, it's the growing of it, the ventilation of it. So I don't care if you want to smoke it in your home, or you can go smoke it down in the park. That's fine, but I have to now smell.
But like Mr. Cisco said, our Legal Affairs Committee has been looking at this. We've been looking at various ordinances to deal with this, so that when an individual is doing this in their house, that the odor would not extend outside the doors. And we also have concerns about lighting and things like that. So we appreciate you bringing that to us, but I don't want to, we're always careful what we say here. I don't want to say, look, this will be taken care of in 2 months and you'll be good, because I can't promise that. But what I can promise is that, and there's a lot of good things are going on in the city. These guys, they're looking at a lot of things, but what I can assure you is that I think this is the number one. I think we have like 12 issues we're looking at legal affairs, and this is the number one issue. So we'll do what we can. I don't even know, when are we meeting next month? And it's already May, so.
This is the number one issue that we're trying to solve, and obnoxious odors is addressed in the ordinances that we're kind of looking at. So we're aware of it. You're not the first person to complain.
No.
You probably won't be the last person.
No.
But if you could keep track of, information helps. See, a lot of time, for the police department and us, we don't have witnesses. We don't have eyes and ears on the ground.
What kind of, what would you like me to provide? Do you want when I call the landlord, when I call the owner of the home and he sends somebody there and bags and bags and bags and bags of material come out of the home?
Bags and bags of marijuana are coming out of
Well, they
there?
were in black bags, so I can only assume that he's getting rid of the evidence before the person that comes in, who's managing the home, comes to do an inspection in all the windows and doors. I mean, should I take photos? Do you want me to call you when the odor is bad? Or, I
Here,
mean, what would help you?
What I would, why don't we do this? We'll talk to the police department, and then we'll keep moving towards getting that ordinance.
I would just like to say right now, we don't have another meeting scheduled, but because of her issue, I will reach out
Schedule
to.
one?
I will schedule
Okay.
one as soon as
Thank you.
possible.
Mr. Covier, we had a house on Winona Street there that was growing marijuana, a rental house. And Drano and the Allen Park Police went down there and closed it in 1 week.
Yeah.
What happened with that? Why is that in Winona, right off of Pinecrest, the first house?
I don't know.
Well, I've talked to the police department and they said Drano can go in with probable cause. Well,
What's more probable cause than what you're
right,
saying?
then this odor. All you have to do is
So
just
we
come down the
closed that
street and you can
marijuana
smell
house
it.
down on Winona in 1 week.
There was nobody living in that Winona house, though.
Well, it was rented, it was,
Well, there was an older
living there.
couple and then one passed and they started
But there
renting
was
it, so.
nobody living in the Winona
Right.
house. There's people living in the house that you're talking about.
Correct, yes. Yes. But
So
I
we-
just,
we
yeah.
still need to do
We
something.
have her address? We have that,
don't you give it to the
not
clerk?
your
I'll give
address.
I'll give it to the
Well, we don't
clerk.
need your address, but we want the address of the house.
We have the other.
Well, we have it already, yeah.
Okay.
we do.
Thank you very much.
Ray McGusson, citizen of Allen Park. To the young lady who was just up here, I would highly recommend her to call the state police. That's what I did, and that's how I got it taken care of. It takes a little bit of work, but the state troopers will definitely be getting a hold of you, and any of our citizens out here will definitely, and that's how you got to do it. Call the state police will work with you. Okay. I want to thank Gail McLeod for doing an excellent job as Mayor Pro Tem at the last meeting. She gave us a lot of respect. She just told us to respect everybody, and that was it. And we respected her, and respected everybody else here, and they respected us. I want to thank Kevin Rourke for going ahead and to catch on after my little presentation last council meeting about having the ordinance changed to 64-gallon containers from 96, because we can have both of them for waste. So the city ordinance was changed because of that. So I want to thank you, Kevin. I also want to thank our fire department, our fire chief, for doing another well-done job and getting another grant. I don't know how many of the grants this is, but boy, he knows one way to save us a ton of money. He does it time and time again. The man does an excellent, excellent job. Okay? I also want to say, to the chair, mayor, to Mark Kibbe, the historical house grass needs to be cut. I was there today. It looks terrible. One more thing, Mr. Mayor, and every one of your city council people, including the clerk and including the treasurer, respect the opinions up here. Respect them. We voted for every one of you. Every one of you have a different opinion. And just because your opinion, someone else doesn't believe in it, and I'm talking all you up there, do not sit there and make faces at people. Don't go crazy. There's 7 people up here. And that's the reason why we have 7 votes. So respect each other. You do not have to do what happened at the last meeting, including the people behind me. Respect the people's opinion. I have the right to come up here. Just respect us. So there's a couple things that need to be done. To any of our people out there, and I will say this again, clean out your medicine cabinets, Get rid of your own medicine. Make sure your stuff is locked up so our children and kids don't get into what they not supposed to get into. And if any of you have a problem with grow houses, contact the state police right away. They will work with you. Don't come up here, and I'm just saying in a way, you know, this goes all over YouTube, it goes all over the world. Just contact the state police and work with them. So I want to thank you very much for allowing me to come up here and being able to voice my opinion. And I respect you all, even though I don't go along with your ideas all the time, but I respect you. Have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.
My name is Constance Wright. I live on Wick.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Constance Wright.
Right?
Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. And I'm here because I want to express my absolute admiration and support of Officer Tracy Brown. And I am very much disappointed with the way in which the police department and this council has handled Sergeant Danielle Cerrone. I got the article in the news, and I am happy to say that they did not report one of the instances that was broadcast on the television in regards to the inappropriate strip search by Sergeant Cerrone of a prisoner, a female prisoner. I do not understand why this has been allowed to continue as long as it has. I understand that this was brought before this council several months ago, and the people were advised that this was resolved amongst the parties, all is well. If it was resolved, I don't know why Officer Brown had to get an attorney, but I don't understand why this has continued all of this time. I am embarrassed as a citizen of Allen Park. I have lived here since 1958. Do not understand. I have, in my own work experience, found that men do not even know most of the time when they are being inappropriate. But the circumstances described in this article and on TV, certainly there is no question as to whether or not Sergeant Cerrone was inappropriate. And in addition to that, if there is a lawsuit here and this city is found negligent and has not properly followed their directives in protecting and respecting their own employees, let alone the citizens of the city, how much is that going to cost us? Our budget tells us that already we don't have the money to pay for it. Are you going to give us another millage to pay for this? How do you plan to solve this issue? I hope that Sergeant Cerrone is not currently actively at work, and I want to go on official record that Officer Brown should be commended for bringing this to everyone's attention. Thank you.
Charles Sloan Champagne. I just got a couple things to say. Through chair to Mark Kibbe. I have the flyer that you had for the garbage things on my phone. On the part of like cart placement, it says if your service days for garbage and recycling are on the same, be sure to place your garbage and recycling carts on the opposite sides of the driveway. Does that mean where if this is my driveway, would it mean like my garbage should be on my lawn and then the recycle bin be on my neighbor's lawn? And then the second question with that is, what if I lived on a corner house and my driveway doesn't go in front of my house? Like, where would they put the garbage? Because I had a couple of friends that asked me about that. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. You can just put it in front of your own home. Just have them 3 to 4 feet away from each other. Okay, thank you.
Just had a couple friends that asked me that question. And I think our Parks and Rec director is behind me, I'm sure. The playground by Lindeman, right behind it, I drove by and there's a couple like picnic tables that are pretty much like on its side and stuff. So I just wanted to comment to looking to that to get those fixed as well. And have a good day and thank you.
Charles, that was Lindeman? Lindeman?
What was that?
Lindeman?
Yeah, right behind Lindeman. Yes, with the ship thing, boat.
George and Dorothy Moore
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah, ship.
Sure, Charles, sure.
Seeing no other citizens coming forward, we'll go to the consent agenda. There are 4 items. I need a motion to approve the purchasing actions, claims and accounts, payroll report, finance action, housing commission, audit report, and then licenses and permits, street canvasser permit for John Fleming at the VFW post, May 5th, 7th, 12th, 13th, and 14th, the National Poppy Sale. Have a motion, please. Motion.
So moved. Well,
Motion by Templin, supported by Councilman DeGiulio. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The award for the bid of the playground equipment, could I have a motion for the awarding of the bid, and then maybe Mr. Hawkins can come forward with their questions?
Support.
Through the chair, because of the nature of this, I would let him do his presentation, and then we're going to separate it into, I believe, 3, playground, shelter, or any of that order, so if you don't mind.
The clerk's suggestion, Mr. Hawkins, if you'll give us your presentation, please.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. What we're asking for is 3 different resolutions because there are 3 different awards. The City of Allen Park has received a Wayne County allocation grant in the county's 2014-15 budget for playground equipment and a shelter at Bacabella Park, and the amount of that grant was $54,346. That agreement has been signed and been in place for approximately 1 year. The city has also been notified by the county that in the current fiscal budget of the county, we have been awarded an $80,000 allocation, with a portion of that to be used for playground equipment at Millward Park. So instead of trying to send out 2 different bids, I wrapped this all into one bid document that was submitted and then opened in the clerk's office on April 20th. 16 proposals for each park were received from 7 different companies. I'm requesting that a resolution be prepared and the City Council award the playground proposal for Bacabella Park to Sinclair Recreation LLC in the amount of $40,000 for the option 1 of their submitted proposal, using the game time equipment that's similar to the last 4 playgrounds that have been installed. I'm also requesting council award the replacement of the shelter at Bacabella to the low bidder, Great Lakes Recreation Company, in the amount of $4,915. Both awards listed are funded from that 2014-15 county allocation grant that we already have a contract with. In addition to that, I'm requesting that council award the playground proposal for Millward Rotary Park to Playtopia in the amount of $45,000 for the option 1 of their proposal that was submitted, contingent upon a completed contract with Wayne County for their 2015-16 budget, which allocated a total of $80,000 to Allen Park. A shelter was also included in the bid documents that was to go up in Duda Park, if you recall, is the park where the Kiwanis invested quite a bit of money for the playground equipment and the surface material, the safety surface material. They are paying for the shelter that's going to be put in that location, and so I'm not asking to award anything for that, but we've turned over the documents for them to select and work with us on who's going to install that and what they're going to select. And I sent you pictures of the playgrounds that I was recommending. The first company for Bacabella is similar to the similar but different to the last 4 playgrounds that were installed. The one from Millward, I brought a couple of samples. It's 99.9% recycled material that goes in there. And when I saw that post, which the mayor is holding right now, which is much bigger than a steel painted post, I couldn't not look at it. With as much recycled material that's in there, I think it's the right thing to do for the right price.
Through the chair to Mr. Hawkins. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, is that a solid, it's a
Yes.
solid piece, so.
That's correct.
Through the chair there, Mayor, to Mr. Hawkins.
Yes.
I just want to say, Mr. Hawkins, so the citizens of Allen Park know this is completely free to a citizen. So this is really a good thing. The Wayne County allocation grant to Allen Park is what's going to cover all the costs of this.
Yes.
So, as Mr. Keenan would have said, this is just to be clear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Both of these parks, in addition to what we're asking, both of these parks are set up to be a community build. And once the award is made, we're hoping to have the community build project at Bacabella worked on and finished before the end of this fiscal year. But because we don't have the county agreement yet for the next fiscal year's grant, we're looking at the Millward Rotary Park site as being most likely a fall site. But both of them would be community builds, inviting the community to come and help and take part and put this thing together with supervision from the manufacturers.
You've heard his presentation. There are really 3 motions that I believe have to come forward. And the first one is the Sinclair Recreation LLC playground proposal for Bacabella Park, and that is in the amount of $40,000, and it is option 1 as presented to the council.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Support. Moved by Councilman DiGiulio, supported by Councilman Rourke. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. The second one is the replacement shelter at Bacabella Park being given to Great Lakes Recreation Company in the amount of $4,915. If I may have a motion for that one.
Motion.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Cisco, supported by Councilwoman Gavarecki. Is there any discussion there? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is carried. Third one is the playground proposal at Millward Rotary Park to Playtopia in the amount of $45,000, and it's option 1. And it's, do we have to put contingent upon a completed contract with Wayne County?
Well, I think that would be appropriate.
Okay,
The
so
city
we'll have
attorney
it
might be able to answer that
contingent with
better.
the completed contract with Wayne County in their 15-16 budget for $80,000. So, a motion to that.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman DiGiulio, supported by Mayor Pro Tem McLeod. Is there any discussion of that matter? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is carried.
Thank you.
shelter due to park informational only is being built by the Kiwanis, and I think they're using a similar drawing as I think for the Bacabella, but all right. We have to approve the fire chief's request to accept an assistance to firefighter grant, and it's in the amount of $65,000. Correct?
Correct, yeah, there'll be, we'll require a match of $6,500, which I believe is budgeted because this was a capital improvements project.
Yeah, we budgeted the full 65,000, so, actually.
Money left over.
I got other stuff I can fix, though.
Question there, Mayor, to Chief LaFond. Is this, are we gonna, is this something new to the fire station, or are we replacing something that wore out?
We're replacing worn out. The current system's about 20 years old. It's no longer compatible with the new style diesel engines that we have now. They run at much higher exhaust temperatures, and it pretty much is melting all of the parts in it, and it's inoperative at this time.
I totally support it, but I'd just still like to know, where does the $6,500 come from that we're matching?
I have
$65,000
$65,000 budgeted for the replacement of this whole unit.
Right, you have the grant for $65,000, correct? But we're gonna match it with $6,500, we're paying 10% of it? I'm just curious where it comes from.
Out of my capital improvement budget.
Your capital, thank you.
Any other questions?
Is this going to be working with the new air conditioning system?
Totally separate systems. This is just to remove the diesel exhaust from the building, and it filters it and discharges it to the atmosphere. Just to get, so you can imagine what it's like with 6 diesel engines running inside of the building in the winter, so. It's required by OSHA and just about every other regulatory agency out there, so.
I'd like to make the motion.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Templin to approve.
To approve.
Supported by Councilwoman Gavareki. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you. I'll see you when we open the bids.
The third is a motion to hire the real estate firm of CBRE to market the city's old city hall and total property up to 7 acres there with a 6-month listing agreement and a 6% commission rate. May I have a
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Councilman DeGiulio is moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem McLeod. Any further discussion? We did get the approval from the state finally.
Yeah, this was part of amended order, Emergency Manager Order 55A of 2014 that was amended on March 22nd of 2016. That amendment allows the city to hire a professionally qualified firm to provide marketing services for the sale of up to 7 acres of the old City Hall property.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Just one slightly, Mayor. When we had this property here, when we had it listed for sale, wasn't it with CBRE? With the old administration, the 2007 Mayor and Council, right? And weren't we paying them an hourly rate? We were paying them. I have some paperwork at my little barber shop. I saved all that stuff, and I think we paid them probably close to $400,000 to market the property. So I'm glad to see we're doing a commission thing. So if I'm wrong, have somebody correct me, but I believe we paid $400,000. We were paying them for phone calls to their attorneys for 15 minutes. And I can back that up with documentation. So this is a good thing. Only when it sells are we going to pay. Right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That's carried. We are at other business, which is council comments. Whoop. Oh, number 4, okay. Oh, I thought I was just selling it. Okay.
No. Take it down first,
Like
too.
to. We have a contract to accept the lowest qualified bidder, SJ Design and Construction, to demolish the old City Hall at 16850 Southfield Road in the amount of $98,850. And could I have that motion?
Now, just a friendly amendment, if we could make that subject to confirmation by the state and RTAB. we have, some of those orders are a bit, one order said we needed to sell it with the building up, and then when they amended the order, they failed to address that issue, so we would just want to make this motion subject to the approval by the state and RTAB.
I'll support the amendment.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Support.
Supported by Councilman DiGiulio. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Now we're at other business. Council have any comments or other business they want to make the council aware of? Councilman Fiscal.
I'll go on, Harry.
Kevin, you've been
I'll be
starting first
quick.
if you want to. Go ahead.
No, I just want to thank Ray for the compliments. It was very nice of him to speak up with that. And I wanted to, some of the students are still here, but Saturday or Sunday, the Allen Park High School autism group had a walk that day. It was a beautiful day, and that's when you walk through and they're spraying you with all the different colors of autism, things like that, and all the kids, parents, grandparents, getting all their shirts wet and colored and things like that. It was just a great fundraiser, and seeing the students up front collecting it, organizing it, and taking care of it. So I just want to commend the students for doing that. Thank you.
Councilman Fiscal?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions if they can be answered, and then some things I'd like for us to look at. Having talked to the architects as we had our meeting with the Municipal Complex Committee, a number of issues came up about safety and things like that in a new building for everybody. So one of the things I'd like to ask, has there ever been a live shooter drill in City Hall? Has anybody ever practiced that? If you know, we see it on the news constantly that all it takes is one off-centered person, not saying anybody in here is like that, but all it takes is for somebody to walk in. And so has there ever been a live shooter drill in City Hall or any municipal complex where there are actually people working?
Yeah, we have not done anything in City Hall. Pat Hawkins did come across a presentation. I think he has shared that with his staff over at the community center, and we can do the same here with City Hall employees as well.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing about a fire drill also. You know, it should be part of a regular routine that we go through in our city, considering the daily deluge we get on TV about somebody shooting somebody somewhere. And I think we should be prepared for that, at least know what we're supposed to do, whether it's to hide or run. You know, I think those are kind of the options. So it'd be nice if we had some direction from somebody on that. And so having said all that, I'd like for us to look at Act 78. Our council committees to look at it, to recommend we either reaffirm that we're okay with Act 78 or the possibility of putting it on the ballot, which according to Act 78, the people have to vote on it, yea or nay. We've already accepted Act 78. I don't want to get into details, but Act 78 has to do with the police and fire, Civil Service Commission, and police and fire, and a number of things. The Act 78 is the 1935 is when that bill was passed, in 1935. So I think we need to look at it as our committees, Human Resources and possibly Legal Affairs, both committees to look at and come up with some recommendations, yea or nay, and what we think of it, if it helps or hinders us at this point, for a lot of reasons. And then, of course, there'd be a recommendation, probably a work session after that, and then possible being put on the ballot if the council so agrees that we need to do something about it. We put on the ballot in November. The language is explicit in Act 78 about what the actual language is. It says it in Act 78, that it has to be that exact language that's in Act 78. So there's no doubt on our part of how it's going to be put on the ballot, if the council so wishes. So I think we need to take a hard look at that. And so let's move on to some happy things. Garbage cans, got my garbage can today. I just want to say something about the garbage cans, or the containers, the refuse containers. We shouldn't call them garbage cans, should we? They should be refuse containers. Is the little flyer is not, that tells you everything about what's going on, dates and everything. It's not actually attached to the cans. They're kind of like half in the lid and half out of the lid. And so if it's kind of handled wrong by the people who are putting in, that flyer goes inside the can. And so unless you open the lid up and look in the bottom, you're not going to see it. And so that's a 96-gallon can, so it's way down in there. It's way far.
It is clean, though.
It's absolutely
clean.
perfectly
Because he didn't
clean
fall
for the
in.
moment. And I just think it's great that we had that. You know, I think it's going to make a big difference in our city in a lot of ways. And happy with the work on Garfield. And I also just want to say, this is a little personal thing, and I normally don't ever bring this up, but I don't know if anybody ever watches The Voice on Channel 4. Well, there's a friend of mine on it, and his name is Laith El-Sadi. Tremendous talent. I've known him for years, played at a lot of my venues, terrific guy. His talent is just overwhelming. So if you get a chance, watch The Voice. He's in the final 11. I think they're voting on the final 10 tonight. I'm assuming he'll make the final 10. Vote for Laith El-Sadi. He actually played the Allen Park Street Fair a couple years ago, that I booked him for that first year after we took over from the previous festivities committee. So Laith El-Sadi, it's a plug. I don't normally do that, but he's just a terrific, terrific guy. Terrific talent, and you'll see that. So I thank everybody for coming out tonight and all the comments. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, I just would like to make an announcement that anybody who happens to know James and Kathleen Stauder, if you would wish them a very happy 65th anniversary on Thursday, April the 28th. I think they are to be commended, and I think I see some of their neighbors here, so to the Stauders. And without getting into anything lengthy, I think we need to keep in mind that there were a lot of ordinances written by the emergency manager when she was here, and as we have come to find out, most of them were not well-written nor well thought out, and we have already amended a number of them to make sure that we are able to run this city in a satisfactory manner. And I would like all of you to keep that in mind when people start to raise selectively questions as to whether or not these should be amended or changed. We've already done so, and we've done so for the right reasons. Please do not continue to throw blame or aspersions upon this elected body. We have a group of people here who are truly, truly committed to trying to do things the right way and to make sure that we don't end up in 10 years where we ended up a few years ago. Because God help us if they ever send in another emergency manager. Thank you all for coming tonight, and I wish you all a good evening and a very pleasant coming weekend.
Councilman DiGiulio.
Well, tonight I find out that we don't like what Mrs. Parker's rollback provision. We did like it when we had the citizens vote on, but now we don't like it. Baird company that wrote up the provision, we liked it when they wrote it up, but now they don't even like it. They don't like it anymore. They don't think we should give it back anymore. I don't know. We gave about $300,000 here at the last meeting to our employees when we put the hard cap in place. We went from the 80-20. Malvindale pays the 80/20. Malvindale starts their police officers at less, and I attended their meeting a week ago at the Malvindale City Hall, and they've hired a new police officer, and he gets 80/20, and his starting pay is less than Allen Park pays for a police officer. But they were able to find a satisfactory gentleman. So we need to fulfill our promise to the citizens. We need to show them that we are people of our word. We were here and get on that marijuana house. So if you don't live in the house, we can do something about it. But if you're living there, possibly even the people living in that house have children or whatever in that house, we're going to allow it. Well, we can't allow this in our city. We didn't allow the marijuana grow house over on Winona Street. We took care of that problem immediately. Of course, it was election time, and I guess we do a little more when it's election time. So let's see what we can do about that marijuana place. I want to see that gone from that neighborhood. I don't want it in my neighborhood, and I don't believe that lady wants it in her neighborhood, and I certainly don't want it in my grandchildren's neighborhood and all my grandchildren. I shouldn't say all of them. 2 don't live in Allen Park, but the other 5 do live in Allen Park, and I don't want that in their neighborhood. And Jennifer, you were, my daughter Jennifer, this one gentleman that works for the city now, Jennifer was trying to move a cabinet or something to one of her neighbor's houses, and she was having a problem with it, and a city employee was doing an inspection on the street, and Jennifer called him over, and what a gentleman. He moved it for her. He did that. So that was a positive thing that we saw happen with a city employee. Thank you and good night.
Thanks.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you for your comments, and I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Gavaricki and supported by,
For purpose of discussion.
well, I'll take another.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
withdrawing my motion.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm going to say it's supported by Mr. DeGiulio without the
Without the
amendment.
discussion? Okay.
All in favor signify by aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 8:02.